Welcome back to the show. We got a fresh attack against Ripple and XRP, and you won't believe who it is this time. Oh boy, somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.79 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 0.4%. Bitcoin 114,000 plus, Ethereum 3,600 plus. XRP at the number 3 spot is $2.95. We're off 3.6 on the 24, and we're off 3.3 on the 7-day. Let's look at the range of price. Range between 291 and 305. Now, I'll tell you, 293 is where we're at right now. Keep that in your mind, 293, where we are right now. This is important. Now, let's take a look at this very quickly here. It's Caleb and Brown, ladies and gentlemen. The crypto brokers, DAI, and myself came together to work with so you could open your free account. All you have to do is to go to XRPwealth589.com and open your free account today. No hidden fees, institutional grade custody, multiple layers of security, human customer service like you wouldn't believe. Let me tell you something. You can set your market orders on there, and you don't have to worry about the exchanges freezing up because you're going to speak to your prime broker representative, and then you're going to set your market orders. They're going to help you set them correctly. That's the kind of convenience you're looking for. They have one flat fee. It's 3.5%. Some people say, that's really high. Well, let me tell you what I love about it. I was hacked in 2023. Now, you get multiple layers of security on this platform, as anyone would expect. Two-factor verification, the rest of it. As well as with that human customer service and a rep, I can add special restrictions on my account for safety security features, added security features as well. This is remarkable to me. Not to mention the kind of in-person human customer service that you get here. I tell you what, I've had issues where I wanted to set something up. I'd line up appointment. We sit down. They walk me through it, make sure it's all set up properly. There's no guesswork here. And let me tell you something, that ease of use, that convenience in this market, as fast as this market moves, I tell you right now, it's worth it every day for me. It will be for you too. You'll see the level of service you get. It's unbelievable. Now let's get into this really quickly here. We all know Ripple applied for a national banking license. Well, let me tell you what. First of all, buckle up, because this is a rough one today. We got attacked by somebody we've been supporting for years in this space. Now, we know as they applied for that banking license, Circle and Ripple came under attack by 42 U.S. banks tried to block Ripple's bank license. And we know that some of those people on this list are actually partners to Ripple and working with them. Well, hang in there. Now we have Caroline Pham, Commissioner Pham at the CFTC. Listen to what she says.
Prohibited banks from engaging in digital asset activities without getting a letter of non-objection from the bank regulators. The infamous SAB 121, which I think the SEC forgot that banks are public companies and that banks custody things. So, clearly getting that rescinded by acting chairman Uyeda on the second day, I think, in office was huge. So banks can do these activities. Of course, JP Morgan has been very active in the digital asset space, as has BNY, as has Citi and all the other banks. It's been quiet. Now I think you're going to be able to see them really accelerate. So all of these projects that everybody's been working on since 2016, now we're going to start seeing more deployment, more volume, and so on and so forth. And a lot of it's been done, frankly, through portfolio companies and strategic equity investments, and so you'll see that deployment. But it's really the bank regulators and making sure, again, that the bank regulators are comfortable with the banks, with their risk governance frameworks, and then a lot's going to start to happen.
There you have it. Well, a lot has started to happen. First thing they started to do was try to stop Ripple from getting the same license they got. That's first order business, right? But very interesting, and nonetheless, because they are unwinding the many different layers that have been Choke Point 2.0, right? Operation Choke Point 2.0. But nonetheless, all of that is moving away now, supposed to be coming down. Well, let me tell you, Look at this as a side note very quickly here. We're going to move on with this conversation. We were just attacked so hard. You're going to be so upset. But you know what? We can't make good decisions in high emotions. So we gotta stay grounded. Galaxy Digital holds $34 million in XRP. That's right. The same Mike Novogratz that has spent years saying XRP was worthless. Yeah, that same Mike Novogratz. Looks like old Novogratz may have been talking his book against XRP the entire time while accumulating it. It's less about what they say and more about what they do. Well, speaking of which, more about what they do. Here is a clip from a recent podcast from Caitlin Long and mapping out the post-Jerome Powell Fed. And boy, oh boy, does she come after Ripple so hard here. It's going to make your head spin. And for years, I have supported Caitlin and Custodia Bank and her efforts there to get a master account. And for her to turn and make these comments, I tell you right now, is a really dire mistake on her part, I truly believe. Certainly, well, let's talk in a second here.
Tether, and it looks like Ripple, the Ripple network has been blessed for a variety of reasons. If you're happy to push back on me about that, I'm just reading what I see. So I'm not. I bring it up, and everybody's like, "You're shilling for Ripple again." I'm not shilling for anything,
I don't
folks.
mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I think it overstates how important that network is. Part of the problem is the banks have always been suspicious of it.
Right.
Because it is a centralized network.
There's your first lie.
And the tokenomics are backwards.
No, they're not.
Right. So one of the step back in creating these tokenization platforms, the people who extracted money up front are never going to be trusted because everybody's going to look and think that anything that they do is an exit scam to try to dump on retail. Okay, the most effective tokenization platforms are the ones where there was no money up front or very little money up front, and that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's
okay, there's a second lie. Listen, I got to do it. It sounds like Caitlin Long is mad that Ripple will get their Fed master account before Custodia Bank. Add that 42 banks came together to try to stop Ripple's banking license, and you start to see the big picture. Ripple is going to change the game. There's no question about it. And then coming back to this, remember this? Ethereum disguised whales. Does everybody remember this?
Will there be a limited valuation of the
Stay with me. You'll hear it. Look at the reading.
Yeah, Mike's asking, will there be a limit on the amount that a person could invest in Ethereum?
Listen. That's Joe Lubin getting ready to explain how you can disguise your identity so you can make multiple purchases without anyone know that you're doing it during an initial coin offering, which Caitlin Long apparently has no memory of. And by the way, don't forget, they also had CCP. Wanzhang CCP-backed China put money into Ethereum too, and that's okay for Caitlin Long, apparently.
Can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit the size, the unit size of a sale, just to make it easier to disguise. Let's say if you're a whale and you want some privacy. You can buy 50,000 units and so nobody scares people with an enormous initial purchase. So if you are a whale, if you are planning on investing several million US dollars worth, then you can do that for multiple identities.
You could do that with multiple identities. When's the last time you heard somebody explain how you could really, I feel, illegally explain to somebody how they can illegally dodge the transparency they're supposed to be doing? So using multiple identities, how do we know that JP Morgan isn't the largest holder of it and use multiple identities to make it look like it was decentralized in the investment side of it? See, this is the crooked stuff that they try to latch on to as if they actually have a point to make. Sorry, Caitlin, you're falling short. But nonetheless, let's hear the rest of this.
Really that simple. I don't think you're ever going to get the trust because of all that money that got raised up front. That was the first of the ICOs.
Ethereum was the first of the ICOs. Matter of fact, if you don't believe me, listen to this guy in the first 18 seconds.
I said, I'm going to keep an open mind. I don't care what they pay me. I don't care if they pay me. I want to maximize learning. I want to travel. And thank you, Ethereum Foundation, for giving me the opportunity to do that. It was very eye-opening. But after a year, 18 months, I was like, holy shit, like, what am I really doing here? I'm really pumping Joe Lubin's bags. All due respect to Joe Lubin and all the other, Ethereum whales. There
you have it. Caitlin needs to do her homework a little bit. Now let's listen to the rest of this.
In their case. And that's, I mean, they've been at this longer than almost anybody else. And
it's a vetting process, Caitlin. That's why you haven't seen the network take off the way that you would hope it would take off, or the way that Ethereum's taken off, because it got a free pass.
And they haven't made a lot of progress. And now what did they try to do? Instead of trying to sell that into the banking industry, they're getting their own regulated financial institutions and trying to issue a stable coin. So that's kind of, in some ways, an admission that the base layer blockchain didn't get the adoption that they were looking for. Now, I will also say the Biden administration was a big part of that, right? By forcing it offshore and saying, you can't, basically, this is the SEC, Gary Gensler, trying to use that because it was the obvious case, since it was the first ICO, to say that was an illegal securities offering, right? And going after them.
Ethereum was the first ICO, Caitlin. Oh my gracious, the lies are running deep this morning.
And that hamstrung them. It didn't hurt Ripple as much as the Fed hurt us, right? Everybody.
Look, that's a lie too, but here it is. Nobody can be more hurt than Caitlin this morning. You know what I mean? That's what's going on here. Look, the reality is it hurt us greatly. That's why I believe personally that Ripple didn't pursue NFTs to a great degree, or smart contracts, or a stable coin at the time. Why give the SEC more of a legal argument? That's why they went into that case as clean as they possibly could. And this court case, whether these people like Caitlin Long and Robert Breedlove and everybody else out here, listen, what I can tell you is it's an audit and vetting process. You're not supposed to see Ripple take off until legislation becomes law. Where in the hell have you even been? They're intentionally waiting so they can come off the line clean. The short-sightedness of the people in this space, and I mean people who have been here for years, pioneers even, have got the story twisted. There's no question about it.
Who was targeted by the Biden administration was hurt to varying degrees. So, but I'm acknowledging that for the XRP army that's going to come after me for saying something I think rational about.
Well, you haven't said anything rational. You lied your ass off, and it has ruined your integrity. In 1 3-minute, 25-second clip, every bit of integrity and support you had from all of us is now gone. And I'm sure that doesn't bother you one bit. But you know what? You're clinging on to the Ethereum network, which is backed by fact of CCP China. And I'll go anywhere you want to talk about that, lady.
It's not going to take over. It's not. If it were going to take over, it would have taken over a long time ago. And
you know what? Here's someone talking about who can win and who can lose. You haven't won yet. Why don't you focus on winning?
Now they've actually pivoted to issuing U.S. dollar stablecoins on the network, which kind of tells you that they understand that the base layer network is not going to become the base layer of replacing SWIFT. And
oh my goodness, you know what I mean? Here we go. All right, now here's another distortion, right? You're not going to have the opportunity to replace something like SWIFT unless all the money of the world is running in digital form, tokenized form, on the ledger. Goodness gracious, lady. Open your eyes. You're so upset and so mad, probably because you haven't gotten your custodian Fed Master account, which I totally get. But for you to dump on Ripple for it like they're the ones doing it to you is absurd. Oh my God, this.
And part of it is because of those tokenomics.
No, it isn't because of the tokenomics. See, this is the thing. All the tribalists and maximalists have all the advantage because we're designed to accelerate and maximize our technical prowess, our tech stack in this space once legislation becomes law. XRP Ledger and Ripple were designed to work within the system, not, explore it and explode around the system before having clarity and then have all these legal battles because you did all these different things before getting inside the system and being sued to be vetted to be in the system. You know what? I tell you, the longer I'm in this space, the more these people can't help but show their ugly side.
But that said, I mean, I think part of the reason Ethereum is running, the price has run a lot, is because when the U.S. Treasury decides which permissionless network it's going to tokenize T-bills on, and by the way, they've, of course, not announced this. I'm speculating based on something that I heard. This is coming.
Oh, boy.
They're not going to use Ripple. They're going to use Ethereum.
God, I got to cut her off right there. Now we're not going to have tokenized treasuries on the XRP ledger, but they're already there, Caitlin. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try getting up one morning and taking your own head right out of your ass? This is embarrassing. It is just distortion after distortion and lie after lie. No more. No more. They are tokenizing U.S. treasuries on the XRP ledger. By the way, in conjunction with BlackRock. I got to be honest. Not to mention some of the rest of the world's money is starting to show up on the XRP ledger too. This is how you make markets, Caitlin, by having many different stable coins and CBDCs that represent the world's money. Jiminy crickets, what are we even talking about here? This woman doesn't even know that they're already tokenizing treasuries on the XRP ledger. And she's talking about they're doing it on Ethereum? Who wants that? It's backed by the CCP, Caitlin. Oh, boy. And then here she is here going hard one more time. For years, Caitlin Long has remained pretty neutral with regard to Ripple, but she came out swinging recently. Want to know why? Ripple applied for a Fed Master account. She's been playing checkers while Ripple's playing chess. I mean, she takes another litany of shots at Ripple.
Each other and had the same powers. But this is an interesting question because there's an argument that federally chartered trust companies, because they're Fed member banks, get special treatment. That's what I think may be litigated. But a couple of the companies you mentioned have state chartered trusts, and they are not legally eligible. However, the Fed has granted master accounts to some state chartered trust companies in the past. They are not legally eligible for them. I've talked about there's some anomalies in these data, and it looks like a lot of insiders have gotten Fed master accounts that were not legally eligible for them. And I'm not sure how this is all going to play out. I expect that there will be two things: a push by the Trump administration to open this up because there has been corruption in Fed master accounts. But I also expect that certain of the interests will push back, and it's not going to be an easy road. Well, for legally eligible companies, I don't think there is an argument that they can be kept out. But for the New York State chartered trust companies, Ripple bought a company called, Eller, I think it's called Standard Trust Company. They put in a Fed Master Account application in March. It was reported that they did it in June. I wasn't sure when Ripple said that it had applied in June. The data shows that they applied in March, but that's a state chartered trust company. Under the law, you have to be a depository institution if you're state chartered. And they're not. They are expressly prohibited from accepting deposits. But again, their argument might be, hey, the Fed has let some of these other ones in. What's different for us? And the banks will definitely sue over that one, I expect, because the Fed has been letting legally ineligible companies have Fed master accounts.
Okay, so you can tell she's squealing, and she's squealing because she's gone so many years and not getting the Fed master account herself for Custodia Bank, which I have been in support of her getting this entire time. And now she turns around and starts taking shots at Ripple as if Ripple's the one that's keeping her from all of this. Unacceptable, Caitlin. You've lost a lot of support, and I'm sure it doesn't mean a thing to you. But you know what? I could tell you what, it's gone now. And I want to thank you very much for showing us what your true colors were. And I apologize to you that I sent you a message just days ago that no one knows about except you, inviting you to speak at XRP Las Vegas 26. You can take that invitation and shove it right up your ass. I don't want anyone like you on my stage. More evidence that we're working with the big boys: BlackRock's Biddle Fund, Franklin Templeton's, Benji, Goldman Sachs, Citi, JP Morgan. They're all on the board, ladies and gentlemen, and they're all working with the XRP ledger, whether Caitlin likes it or not. And looking at this, look at it. Price needs to hold above 294. And what did we see right here? Ranging between 291. So we need that 294 we're at right now to hold above for a close, is what they're saying, is how I take that. And that's what we're waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going into the freedom zone. Oh my goodness, I hope you will join us, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to lay it down for you today. Oh, the CCP and our Federal Reserve. We know they're behind Ethereum, and so much more. You're going to want to see it. All you got to do is click the join button and come on in, whether it's Patreon or inside YouTube, or even join us on X. You get the same videos with the same perks. Zero ads on my daily videos, zero Google ads from daily videos, and extra content that we're about to jump into right now that I find meaningful. I will see you all inside. Come on in.